This video is about she walked in the rain and the wealthy investor gave her a fortune. If this story inspires you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. The rain came down in sheets, a relentless cascade that blurred the world outside. Zoe sat in the corner of a small cafe staring out at the street. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled her senses, yet it did little to lift the weight on her chest. For weeks, she had been searching for a job in her bustling city, the vibrant heart of dreams and ambitions. But every rejection email felt like another raindrop in her sea of despair. She had graduated at the top of her class, but the bills were piling up, and with each passing day, her hope began to wane. Zoe took a sip from her lukewarm cup, watching as the raindrops laid down the window, creating tiny rivers. Outside, the city moved as if it were a different world. People rushed past without a glance, each wrapped in their own struggles. She sighed, her heart heavy with the thought that she was losing her spark, the very essence of who she was. Just then, the door swung open, a gust of wind sending a chill through the cafe. A tall man entered, his expensive coat splattered with rain. He shook his head, droplets flying off like tiny diamonds. His presence commanded attention, and for a moment, the atmosphere shifted. "Do you have room for one more?" he asked, scanning the cafe with bright, piercing eyes. "Of course." Zoe smiled, though her heart raced. She recognized him immediately. Henry Ashford, the notable investor known for transforming startups into empires. A glimmer of hope sparked within her. Henry settled at the table next to hers, pulling a laptop from his bag. She couldn't help but watch as he typed furiously, his brow furrowed in concentration. It was inspiring seeing someone so driven. Maybe he had faced struggles too, she thought, a twinge of her own ambition bubbling beneath the surface. "Excuse me," Zoe said, surprising herself. "Are you Henry Ashford?" He looked up, curiosity dancing in his eyes. "That would be me, and you are?" "Zoe, I've followed your work for years. You inspire me." He chuckled softly, leaning back in his chair. "That's kind of you to say. What do you do, Zoe?" "I graduated with a degree in marketing. I am currently looking for opportunities," she admitted, the vulnerability making her voice tremble. "Looking for opportunities, or creating them?" His tone was light, but his gaze was serious, probing her deeper than she'd anticipated. "Creating them sounds much better," she replied, her spirit igniting. "But right now, it feels like I am stuck in the rain." "Sometimes, a little rain is necessary for growth," Henry remarked, glancing out at the downpour. "What are you passionate about?" Zoe hesitated, her heart racing. "I want to help small businesses thrive. I believe everyone deserves a chance to succeed, no matter their background." "Interesting," Henry mused. "What is stopping you?" "Fear, I guess. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough." He nodded, a hint of understanding in his eyes. "You'll find that fear can either paralyze you or push you. It is a choice." Zoe felt a wave of inspiration wash over her. "I want to push past it. I want to create something meaningful." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, like the rain outside. She shared her dreams, her struggles, and a glimmer of hope began to form in her heart. With every word exchanged, the heaviness that had weighed on her for weeks began to lift. "Can I give you one piece of advice?" Henry asked, his voice softer now. "Please," she said eagerly. "Don't wait for opportunities, seek them out. There is a world of potential out there just waiting for someone brave enough to seize it." Zoe's heart swelled with gratitude. In that moment, she felt noticed, seen for the first time in a long while. She had always believed in the power of kindness and connection, but here was a tangible reminder that people could change the course of someone else's life with just a few encouraging words. Their conversation came to an end, and the cafe began to empty. As Henry stood to leave, he paused. "I'll tell you what, Zoe. I have a project that needs a fresh perspective. Would you like to meet with me again?" Her heart raced. "Absolutely, I'd love that." "Great. Let us connect. Here is my card," he said, handing her a sleek business card. "And remember, the rain doesn't last forever." As he walked out into the storm, a smile broke across Zoe's face. She felt as if the clouds had parted just for her, allowing the first rays of hope to shine through. The journey ahead would be filled with challenges, but for the first time in months, she felt a spark of determination igniting within her soul. Days turned into weeks, and Zoe poured her heart into her new endeavor with Henry. They met regularly, and he became a mentor, guiding her through the intricate world of business. Each meeting was a blend of laughter and learning, filled with strategies, brainstorming, and the occasional cup of coffee. Zoe's confidence began to bloom. She was no longer just a passive observer in her life, she was actively creating her future. The rain that had once felt so oppressive now seemed like a nurturing force, washing away her doubts and fears. She found herself waking early, her heart racing with excitement for the day ahead. Every challenge they faced felt like a new opportunity for growth. She discovered her knack for storytelling, helping small businesses articulate their vision and connect with their customers. But just as the sun began to shine, the shadows returned. The startup they had poured their efforts into faced a significant setback. A key partnership fell through, and the funding they had hoped for evaporated. The weight of disappointment settled heavily on Zoe's shoulders. Henry, however, remained steadfast. Every setback is a setup for a comeback, he reminded her, his eyes filled with unwavering belief. We'll adapt, we'll pivot, and we'll get through this together. Zoe felt a swell of gratitude for his optimism. It was his kindness and mentorship that ignited her resilience. Together, they brainstormed new strategies, adapting their approach with every twist and turn. Through sleepless nights and countless revisions, Zoe leaned on her inner strength. The struggle became her teacher, and with every setback, her resolve deepened. One rainy afternoon, as they sat in the cafe where it all began, Zoe looked out at the storm. I used to dread the rain, but now I see it differently. It is a reminder that growth can come from the hardest battles. Henry nodded, a proud smile on his face. Exactly, it is in the storms that we discover who we are. As she gazed out at the rain-soaked streets, she realized that she had transformed. With every challenge faced, she had grown stronger and more resilient. The journey was far from over, but hope blossomed in her heart like wildflowers after a storm. By embracing the rain, Zoe found the beauty within herself and the world around her. She learned that every challenge was merely a stepping stone, guiding her toward her dreams. And with Henry by her side, she was ready to confront whatever lay ahead, fueled by the unwavering spirit of kindness, perseverance, and hope. And so, with the clouds still looming overhead, Zoe stepped forward into the unknown, knowing in her heart that she would always find a way to dance in the rain. The sun peeked through the clouds as Zoe arrived at the cafe once more, her heart beating with anticipation. It had been a tumultuous week since their last meeting, but she felt invigorated. Today, they were going to brainstorm new ideas for their project. Henry was already seated, engrossed in his laptop. As she approached, a smile broke across his face, one that filled her with warmth. "Zoe, you made it," he exclaimed, closing the laptop and giving her his full attention. "Of course, I wouldn't miss it," she replied, sliding into the chair opposite him. "I've been working on some ideas, and I think we can turn this around." "Let us hear them," he encouraged, leaning in as if each word she spoke could unlock a treasure trove of possibilities. Zoe took a deep breath, her hands shaking slightly with excitement. "What if we leveraged social media more? Instead of just traditional marketing, we could build a community around our brand, create a platform where small business owners can share their stories and support each other." "Brilliant, that is exactly the kind of thinking we need," Henry said, his enthusiasm contagious. "People love connection. The more personal we make it, the more they'll engage." Zoe's spirits lifted. "And what if we host a series of workshops? We could invite local entrepreneurs to share their journeys and insights. It would not only showcase our brand, but also empower others." "Now you're really hitting the mark. I can already envision how it will unfold. A vibrant community, stories shared, lives changed." For hours, they bounced ideas off one another, their laughter mingling with the soft sound of rain against the windows. The cafe felt like a sanctuary, a place where dreams could be born amid the storm. But as the week wore on, reality struck again. The bills piled up, and Zoe faced the grim task of finding a part-time job to make ends meet. The weight of her financial situation pressed on her like a heavy cloak. "Zoe, how is the job hunt going?" Henry asked her in one of their meetings. His concern was palpable, and she appreciated his genuine interest. "Honestly, it has been tough. I've applied to so many places, but the rejections keep rolling in. I feel like I'm losing the momentum we've rebuilt." Henry furrowed his brow. "Don't let it discourage you. You're doing the work that matters. You've already come so far." "I know, but I can't help but feel overwhelmed. It is as if every time I take a step forward, I am dragged back again." "Zoe," he said firmly yet gently. "Resilience is built in the hardest moments. Remember how far you've come. You're not just surviving, you're recreating." His words echoed in her mind as she left the cafe, but doubt lingered like a shadow. That evening, she sat in her tiny apartment, poring over her laptop, searching for job listings. Nothing felt right, and her heart sank. That night, she dreamt of her childhood, sunny days spent playing in her grandmother's garden. You have to plant the seeds before you can harvest the blooms, our grandmother would say, her voice rich with kindness and wisdom. Zoe woke with a stark realization washing over her. The rain that fell outside felt different today. It felt like a promise of new beginnings. She grabbed her notebook and jotted down her grandmother's words. Plant the seeds, she murmured. It was time to nurture the dreams within her. Fueled by that newfound energy, Zoe dedicated herself wholly to their project. With each passing day, she learned more about marketing strategies, branding, and the nuances of engaging an audience. Henry's mentorship became a lifeline, and she thrived under his guidance. The weeks turned into a whirlwind of activity, filled with late nights, brainstorming sessions, and laughter. They hosted their first workshop, inviting local entrepreneurs to share their stories. The turnout exceeded expectations, and the energy in the room was electric. Zoe watched as they passionately shared their journeys, the struggles and triumphs illuminating the path for those in attendance. For the first time in months, Zoe felt a sense of purpose and belonging. She was part of something bigger than herself, weaving a tapestry of hope from the threads of resilience. However, as they continued to gain traction, Zoe's worries didn't dissipate. In the back of her mind loomed the ever-pressing question of finances. She needed a steady income. "I can keep running on fumes," Zoe confessed to Henry one afternoon, her voice tinged with anxiety. "I love this project, but it is not paying the bills." "I understand," he replied, leaning forward. "But let us focus on turning this passion into something sustainable. You have the drive. We can find a way to make it work." With Henry's encouragement, Zoe began reaching out to local businesses, pitching their project as a marketing service. It was terrifying, but the thought of giving up filled her with dread. As she met with various business owners, she found strength in her vulnerability. "I am here to help you tell your story," she would say, her heart racing. Each meeting was a chance to build connections, and slowly, opportunities began to bloom. One day, as she was leaving a meeting with a local bakery owner, her phone buzzed with a new email notification. It was from a potential client expressing interest in collaborating. Zoe felt the rush of exhilaration as she read through the details. "Henry," she called out, unable to contain her excitement. "I think we got our first client." He looked up from his laptop, eyes sparkling. "That's incredible. I knew you could do it." "I can't believe this is happening," she said, her heart dancing with hope. As she worked diligently to finalize the details of the collaboration, the weight on her shoulders began to lift. Finally, she could see the fruits of her labor blossoming before her. "Remember that workshop we hosted? The bakery owner was there and loved it," she explained to Henry. "It is amazing how our community is rallying around us." "But it is your passion and dedication that is attracting them," he replied, pride evident in his voice. "You're recreating a ripple effect, Zoe. Keep pushing forward." With renewed determination, Zoe delved into her work, pouring her heart into every marketing campaign. Each small success felt monumental, a testament to her resilience. But just as she began to find her footing, another storm loomed on the horizon. The startup faced a roadblock when their funding proposal was rejected. The news hit her like a punch to the gut, leaving her breathless. Henry sensed her despair immediately. "Zoe, I know this feels heavy, but it is not the end. We can rework the proposal, find new investors. We've overcome challenges before." Zoe blinked back tears, overwhelmed by the weight of it all. "I am trying, but it feels like I am running in circles. What if we fail?" "Failure is a part of every journey. It is how we respond that defines us," he said, his voice steady. "Let us focus on what we can control." That night, as Zoe sat alone in her apartment, she allowed herself to feel the weight of disappointment. But amidst the tears, she remembered her grandmother's garden. Every flower faced storms, but they still bloomed stronger than before. "I can be like them," she whispered to herself. "I can thrive." The next morning, she woke with a renewed sense of purpose. She and Henry reviewed the proposal together, brainstorming fresh ideas and angles. With each revision, Zoe felt the flicker of hope reignite within her. Their resilience paid off. A few weeks later, they secured a new investor who believed in their vision. Zoe's heart soared as she signed the paperwork. "We did it," she exclaimed, her voice filled with elation. "Yes, we did. This is just the beginning," Zoe, Henry said, beaming with pride. As their project continued to flourish, Zoe found herself standing in front of a mirror one morning, a sense of disbelief washing over her. The girl who once felt lost in the rain had transformed into a woman ready to embrace the sunshine. She had weathered storms, pulled strength from struggles, and learned to dance even when the clouds loomed overhead. In that moment, Zoe realized that the beauty of her journey lay not just in the triumphs but in the connections forged and the lives touched along the way. She had created a community, a network of dreamers and doers, all inspired to rise above. The rain would continue to fall, but it would no longer drown her spirit. Instead, it was a reminder of the resilience that lay within her. With newfound courage, Zoe stepped forward into the sunlight, knowing that whatever challenges awaited her, she would face them with grace, determination, and the unwavering spirit of kindness and hope. And as for Henry, he remained by her side, a steadfast mentor and friend, reminding her that every storm could lead to the most beautiful blooms. Together, they continued to inspire others, lighting the way for those still searching for their own spark amid the rain. Zoe stood in the heart of the bustling city, her heart racing. The sun shone brightly overhead, casting a golden hue on the landscape, but she felt a familiar weight pressing down on her shoulders. They had just launched their community platform, a place for small business owners to connect, share stories, and support one another, yet the pressure to succeed loomed larger than ever. Previous months had been a whirlwind, filled with countless late nights and brainstorming sessions, but now she was faced with the reality of growing their initiative. "Just remembered," Henry said, his voice steady and reassuring. "The seed takes time to germinate. You've planted something beautiful. Now, we need to nurture it." Zoe nodded, absorbing his words like a sponge. "You're right. It is just that now I feel like I am standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting to see if the wind will carry me or push me off." Henry chuckled softly. "You're not alone on that cliff. I am right here with you, and so are the others you've inspired." He waved at a few local business owners who were setting up for the launch event. Their smiles radiated warmth, a testament to the community they had begun to cultivate. As the morning unfolded, the cafe buzzed with energy. Zoe moved from table to table, greeting each participant with enthusiasm. "Welcome, thank you for being here. I can't wait to hear your stories and share in this journey together." The room filled with laughter, the clinking of coffee cups, and the sweet aroma of baked goods wafting through the air. Yet, despite the joy around her, Zoe couldn't ignore the flutter of anxiety in her stomach. Would they find value in what they had created? Just as the event began, an unexpected storm rolled in, a stark contrast to the bright day outside. Rain drummed against the windows and the winds howled. Zoe felt a pang of worry. She hoped the weather wouldn't deter attendees. "Hold on to your hats," Henry joked, grinning as he approached her. "Even the storm can dampen the spirit." "True," she replied, her voice trembling with excitement. "I just hope people come." "They will," he assured her. "They believe in you. You've shown them that vulnerability can lead to strength." Zoe took a deep breath, reminding herself of her grandmother's words about seeds and growth. The rain may have fallen, but it was also feeding the roots of their dreams. As the afternoon wore on, the cafe filled with an eclectic mix of individuals. Entrepreneurs shared their journeys, stories of struggle, resilience, and triumph. Zoe sat back, her heart swelling with pride. Each moment was a reminder of why she had embarked on this journey in the first place. One local baker recounted how a family recipe helped her survive the loss of her job. "It was my comfort, my safe haven," she said, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Now I am building something that brings joy to others. It is my way of giving back." Zoe felt tears pricking at her eyes as the baker spoke. Stories like these filled her with hope, igniting a fire within her. "You're a testament to the power of resilience," she said sincerely. As the event drew to a close, Zoe noticed a young woman lingering at the back. With wide eyes and a hesitant smile, she approached. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said softly. "I've been struggling to get my small business off the ground. Hearing everyone else's stories today gave me hope." Zoe's heart soared. "That is exactly what we envisioned. We're all in this together." The young woman nodded, her expression brightening. "Can I stay connected? I'd love to share my journey with you." "Absolutely," Zoe exclaimed, pulling out her notebook. "Let us exchange contact information. We can support each other." As they chatted, the storm outside began to abate, the endless rain turning into a gentle drizzle. Zoe marveled at the beauty of the moment, the warmth of community, the kindness of shared experiences, and the hope that blossomed even amidst the storm. However, as the days passed, the initial exhilaration of their event faded, leaving Zoe with the weight of reality. While the community platform had great potential, financial stability remained elusive. They needed a strong foundation to sustain their vision, and Zoe feared they were running out of time. During one late evening meeting with Henry, the weight of her concerns spilled over. "Henry, I am beginning to doubt if we can make this work. The platform is great, but we need more engagement, more clients. What if we don't reach our goals and have to shut it down?" Henry leaned back in his chair, his expression calm. Doubt is a part of the process, Zoe, but remember, every entrepreneur faces it. You've created something real and meaningful. You can't let fear dictate your path. I know, I just feel the pressure mounting, she admitted, her voice shaking. What if I can't live up to the expectations of those who believe in us? Let us shift that perspective, he said, his voice steady. Instead of focusing on the what-ifs, let us focus on what we can do right now. We'll brainstorm, strategize, and reach out. This is a journey, not a sprint. You've already overcome so much. So he took a deep breath, trying to absorb his words. You're right, it is just hard to keep pushing when I feel like I am failing. Failure is not the opposite of success, it is part of it, he replied, his eyes earnest. Let us take one step at a time. We can even consider reaching out to our existing connections for support. That night, Zoe lay awake, mulling over their discussion. She realized Henry was right. They had built something beautiful, and it deserved a chance. Inspired, she crafted an email reaching out to their network, asking for feedback and suggestions. Hello, everyone, she typed. We value your input and would love to hear your thoughts on how we can improve our platform. Together, we can create something extraordinary. With a click, she sent it off, feeling a flicker of hope igniting once more. Over the next few days, responses poured in. Their community had rallied around them, offering constructive criticism, marketing ideas, and even a few potential partnerships. Zoe felt invigorated, the storm clouds of doubt beginning to lift. As their platform gained momentum, they hosted another workshop focused on storytelling for small businesses. The energy in the room was electric, and Zoe marveled at how far she had come. Zoe, one of the participants exclaimed, I used the strategies from last month, and my online sales increased by 40%. Thank you for believing in us. Her heart swelled with joy. That is incredible. Your success is what this is all about. The sense of community continued to grow, with entrepreneurs supporting each other in ways Zoe had only dreamed of. Together, they celebrated wins, shared losses, and formed connections that transcended business. Yet, as the platform flourished, Zoe was reminded of the fragility of it all. Financial struggles still loomed, and securing sustainable funding remained a looming shadow. One night, after a long day, she met with Henry over coffee, the cafe buzzing with laughter and chatter around them. Henry, have you been thinking about the financial side of our platform? What if we launched a membership tier? We could offer exclusive content and resources in exchange for a small fee. He smiled, impressed. That is a smart idea. It could provide some much-needed revenue. Let us flesh it out together. As they sat brainstorming, Zoe felt her spirit soar. The prospect of creating something sustainable ignited her passion anew. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as they crafted the details of the membership tier. Launching it felt like a leap into the unknown, but Zoe embraced the uncertainty. Even if we stumble, we'll learn, Henry reminded her. That is how we grow. Finally, the day arrived. Zoe's heart raced as she pressed send on the email announcing the launch. Here goes nothing, she whispered, her fingers trembling. The response was overwhelming. Members began signing up, excited about the value they could gain. Zoe felt tears of joy fill her as the first few payments rolled in. We did it, Henny, we really did it, she exclaimed, unable to contain her excitement. They celebrated with coffee and pastries, laughter spilling from their table as they toasted to their success. But as the days passed, Zoe grappled with a bittersweet mix of joy and apprehension. While the membership tier was growing, she was still haunted by fears of the future. What if it is just a temporary spike? What if it doesn't last? Henry looked at her, his expression serious yet understanding. Zoe, every success is built on a foundation of risk and uncertainty. You've built a community that believes in you. Focus on nurturing that and the rest will follow. She nodded, absorbing his words. You're right. I need to trust in the process and keep pushing forward. And so, Zoe threw herself into her work, nurturing her community and exploring new avenues for growth. As months passed, the platform flourished, evolving into a beacon of hope for small business owners across the city. Zoe stood at the window of her tiny apartment, gazing out at the bustling streets below. The city pulsed with life, but inside her heart, doubt lingered like a shadow. The community platform she had tirelessly nurtured was thriving, yet the pressure to sustain it weighed heavily on her shoulders. Just breathe, she whispered to herself, placing a hand on her chest as if to calm the rapid beating of her heart. She thought of the countless hours spent building the platform, the stories shared during workshops, the connections forged. But with growth came the constant fear of losing it all. Just then, her phone buzzed, breaking her reverie. It was a message from Henry, asterisk, excited for the meeting today. Let us strategize how to keep this momentum going, asterisk. Zoe smiled, feeling a flicker of hope. Henry had an uncanny ability to lift her spirits. They had forged a bond over the months of brainstorming, setbacks, and small victories. He was not just her mentor, he had become a friend, a beacon of light guiding her through the storm. Arriving at the cafe where they often met, Zoe felt the ambience wrap around her like a warm blanket. The smell of coffee filled the air, mingling with laughter and chatter. She spotted Henry at their usual table, his laptop open, but his focus was on the world outside. "Hey, Zoe, you made it," he greeted, his eyes lighting up as she approached. "Wouldn't he miss it?" she replied, slipping into the chair across from him. "Have you been thinking a lot about what we discussed last week regarding our growth strategy?" "Good, let us hear it," he encouraged, leaning forward, his enthusiasm palpable. Zoe hesitated for a moment and took a deep breath. What if we expand our offerings? We could create resources like ebooks or webinars that tackle specific challenges for small businesses like social media marketing and brand storytelling. Henry nodded, a smile creeping across his face. "That is brilliant. Diversifying our offerings could attract a wider audience. What else do you have in mind?" As Zoe shared her ideas, her nerves began to ease. It felt good to be in a space where her thoughts were valued. "We could also reach out to local influencers to help spread the word. They could amplify our message, bringing more people into our community." "Absolutely. We can leverage the power of social media to create a buzz. People love a good story," Henry added. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, each idea sparking another. But as they delved deeper into planning, Zoe felt that familiar flicker of anxiety. What if it is not enough? What if we can't keep this momentum going? "Zoe," Henry said gently, "every journey has its ups and downs. You've already created something extraordinary from nothing. Don't lose sight of that. You have a community now, a family of dreamers who look up to you." His words resonated deeply within her. "You were right. I just need to remind myself that we were in this together. Behind every challenge lies an opportunity." "Exactly," Henry said, his voice warm with encouragement. "Let us tackle this one step at a time. We can draft a timeline for our new offerings, set goals, and review them weekly." They spent the next few hours mapping out a plan, their laughter and excitement filling the cafe. When they finally wrapped up, Zoe felt a renewed sense of purpose. With each passing day, her confidence grew and she began to see the fruits of their labor. However, as the weeks rolled by, Zoe couldn't shake the feeling of impending pressure. The fear of failure loomed like a storm cloud. She often replayed conversations in her mind. What would happen if the community lost interest? What if they couldn't meet their financial goals? One evening, after a particularly exhausting day, Zoe found herself tossing and turning in bed. She rose and made her way to the living room, where the city's lights twinkled outside her window. She picked up her notebook, the pages filled with her dreams and aspirations, and began to write. "I am scared," she penned, letting the words flow freely. "What if I am not enough? What if I can't sustain this community that means so much to me?" As the tears spilled onto the pages, she felt an overwhelming sense of release. "But I've learned that fear is a part of growth," she wrote. "I'd come too far to let it hold me back." The next day, she met Henry for their weekly check-in. He could see the weariness etched on her face. "Zoe, what is going on? You seem distant." "I am just overwhelmed," she admitted, her voice trembling. "I've been feeling this weight of expectation, and I am scared it's all going to fall apart." Henry leaned back in his chair, absorbing her words. "Remember when we started? You faced so many challenges, and yet you persevered. This is just another hurdle, and you have the strength to overcome it." "I know," she replied, wiping her tears. "But what if I fail? What if my passion isn't enough?" "Passion is only part of the equation," he explained. "Surrounding yourself with supportive people, whether it is mentors, friends, or community members, is equally important. You are never alone in this." Zoe took a deep breath. "You were right. I need to lean on the very thing I've created this community." "Exactly. Reach out, share your struggles. You'll be surprised by how many people will rally around you." With newfound determination, Zoe decided to host a community meeting that weekend, inviting everyone to share their experiences and challenges. She wanted to encourage an open dialogue to foster a sense of solidarity among her peers. As the meeting day approached, Zoe felt a rush of anxiety and excitement. What if they would be receptive? What if they didn't want to share? The cafe buzzed with energy as attendees began to trickle in that Saturday morning. Zoe welcomed each person with a smile, her heart pounding as she took her place at the front. Thank you all for coming, she began, her voice shaking slightly. Today, I want to create a space where we can talk openly about our experiences as entrepreneurs. I think it is important to remember that we're not alone in this journey. As she spoke, she shared her own fears. I've been feeling overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed, and I am sure some of you can relate. The reality is that we all face challenges, but together we can navigate these storms. A hush fell over the room as attendees nodded, empathy blossoming in their eyes. One by one, they began to share their stories. I thought I was the only one struggling to balance my business with personal life, said a local florist, her voice quivering. Hearing you say that makes me feel less isolated. I've faced rejection after rejection, and it is hard to keep going, a small batch chocolatier added. But being here today reminds me that I am not alone. So we felt a warm rush of gratitude as the stories unfolded. The camaraderie in the room was palpable, each vulnerability met with support and encouragement. As the meeting continued, Zoe realized the beauty of their shared experiences. They were all navigating uncharted waters, yet together they formed a lifeline for one another. When the meeting wrapped up, attendees lingered, exchanging stories and contact information. Zoe's heart swelled with pride. This was what she had envisioned, a community built on kindness and resilience. In the days that followed, Zoe felt lighter. The burden of expectation had shifted into a collective responsibility. The support from her peers infused her work with renewed vigor. Meanwhile, Henry continued to encourage her. See how powerful community can be. Together, you're reforging connections that will help everyone thrive. Thank you for believing in me, Zoe said, feeling gratitude wash over her. I couldn't have done this without your guidance. And I couldn't have asked for a better partner, he replied, a proud smile lighting up his face. Let us keep building on this momentum. As the platform grew, they launched new initiatives, including mentorship programs where experienced entrepreneurs could guide those just starting out. They created a podcast featuring inspiring stories from their community, reinforcing the notion that resilience could illuminate even the darkest paths. However, amid the excitement, Zoe faced moments of doubt. The fear of stagnation crept in like a thief, looking at the edges of her mind. What if it isn't enough, she would whisper to herself on sleepless nights. But every time she felt the weight of that fear, she would return to her notebook, reminding herself of the journeys they had taken together. She would write affirmations, asterisk, I am enough, I am a force for good, I am building something meaningful, asterisk. Months rolled by, and one sunny afternoon, Zoe stood before a crowd of entrepreneurs at another workshop. The energy in the room crackled with excitement. I am so grateful to see all of you here today, she said, her heart swelling as she scanned the faces filled with hope. Your stories inspire me every single day. Each of you brings something unique to this community, and it is a privilege to witness your growth. As she spoke, she felt the warmth of connection enveloping her.